Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you all for being here. Actually, let me share my screen and we can get started in just a couple moments. I know folks are streaming into the room right now, and I want to make sure on the tech side that my screen is being shared. Can you see that okay? Yeah, in the chat, would love if you guys could just confirm that you can see my screen okay, and we'll make sure that we'll get going in just a few moments here. If you can see my screen, I would also love to know where you're from. I see we have people from California, from Maryland, from Massachusetts, all over the place. Amazing. Thank you all so much for being here on this wonderful Friday. For me, it's Friday afternoon. Really excited for the weekend. Hopefully you all have some incredible Friday plans or weekend plans coming up. People will continue to stream in, but why don't we jump into it? This is going to be a 45-minute webinar, and it's titled Enrollment Strategies for Peak Season. We're going to be diving into how high-performing programs fill seats and do this while maintaining excellence. And oftentimes people think that in order to have a really intense and high-performing enrollment motion, the rest of the program suffers. And in fact, it's actually quite the opposite. Usually there's a direct correlation between the excellence of a program and how put together the enrollment machine is. And so we'll talk a little bit about all of this today. But first things first, let me introduce myself. My name is Sasha Reiss. I'm the co-founder here at Playground. I have spent the better part of almost a decade now at this point working with thousands of programs around the country, helping build systems for enrollment and operations in early childcare. Playground, I'll talk a little bit more about it at the end, is a childcare management system that helps inform and systematize a lot of what we're going to be talking about today. And so I'm super excited to be sharing with you all some of the best practices that I've seen across the thousands of programs and providers that I've worked with over the years. So today's agenda, just to sort of lay it out for us, we're going to be talking, first of all, to get an understanding of why enrollment is more competitive than ever. I was at a conference in December where there were these folks that were doing this big presentation on sort of the state of the industry. They've surveyed like tens of thousands of programs, and across the board, enrollment has gotten softer year over year. So if it's something that you're feeling, you are not the only one out there. It's a very, very common trend, and it's for a few reasons. So we'll talk about that in a second. Then we'll jump into the 4 pillars of a strong enrollment engine. There's actually 4 very clear, distinct stages that you should be thinking about when it comes to generating leads and converting those leads. Throughout this entire webinar, we'll be sharing practical strategies that you can implement immediately. Towards the back half of this, we'll be talking a bit more about super tactical things that I have seen people use very well in our CRM specifically. And then we'll talk about how to actually turn this into a repeatable system that anyone can put into their program and use consistently. So that all being said, let's talk about the reality of enrollment today. Families are getting younger and younger. They are, now in my generation for the most part, and they're, born with an iPhone in their hand. They're mobile first, and it's easier than ever to learn about and research multiple programs before reaching out. And that's what the data shows, right? Families are researching a bunch of programs. They're looking on Reddit, they're looking on Nextdoor, they're looking on ChatGPT. Hey, tell me about the best programs around me. And like it or not, your online presence, it accounts into how parents and families choose their childcare. It is what it is. One TikTok or Instagram can be the reason that someone signs up with your program, which is kind of crazy to say out loud. And the crazy thing to think is, because of who families are these days, oftentimes it's not always the best program that wins. It's actually the fastest responder that could win the tour which then wins the enrollment. And so enrollment is no longer just about admin work and processing and just doing the tour. It's about designing a thoughtful, intentional experience from before a family even knows about who you are today. And I know this is kind of super high level, so hopefully I will try to ground us a little bit, talking through what the 4 pillars of success here are. The first is we need to think about attracting. So how do we actually find new families? How do new families hear about us? Whether it's word of mouth, whether it's we literally walk up to them at a birthday party, whatever it is, how do we even find these families to begin with? Once we find those families, we need to teach them, they need to learn about our program and what makes it unique relative to the other options that they might have in the area. After that, then we want to make sure that we are set up to convert. How do we actually enroll the family? How do we do it in a way that's smooth, that's without friction, and that enables us to provide an incredible experience ahead of the actual care and services that you'd be providing once the enrollment's complete? And that, of course, segues into the last part of this pillar, which is the retention of these families, right? We do so much work to find them, to inform them, to convert them. It is such a shame if they walk out the door after a few months or after a year or two. We want them to stay with us from the infant that of their first child all the way through their last child's kindergarten or pre-K years or whatever it might be for your program. So again, we're thinking about the entire life cycle here, and let's start talking about it. So first things first, there's no point in even trying to optimize for conversion if we have no families to convert in the first place. So let's talk about phase 1, attracting families. Your community should know about you, and ideally they should know about you before your competition, right? Again, the key piece here is competition is getting stiffer than ever, and it's important to make sure that you are set up in a position such that you are hanging out where your families are hanging out. You are spending time where your families spend time. And there's 2 ways to do this. The first is meet them where they're already at. Ask your families that you currently have, where do you hang out? Where do you hang out? After you pick the kid up, do you go to the park? Where do you spend your Saturday mornings? Where do you what kind of extracurriculars is the child doing? And start to think about what you can do to also be there, right? I would hang out on, maybe there's Facebook groups or the Nextdoor app. Maybe there's a community center or a local library that has a weekly event on Wednesday afternoons or Sunday mornings. Pediatrician offices, listservs, maybe there's rec centers. I'm sure everyone has a few things coming to mind. Think about what that is, and then reach out to those people who are currently organizing and find a way to get involved. Maybe you can have a little kiddie corner sponsored by your program where there are crayons and fill in the blank sheets. I can't think of the specific word off the top of my head, that the kiddos can go there and hang out and play, and then your business cards are left there, or there's a flyer advertising your program. There's a million different things you could do, and ideally what ends up happening is you start to take action and you start to become the place where your families hang out. Maybe you create that parent discussion group on Nextdoor or on a Facebook community group. One thing I've seen work really well is hosting workshops for families, potty training, kindergarten readiness. I'll talk about Yellers Anonymous in a second, but become a place where families can come and they can learn, they get value by being there. You can do community open houses. You can do one thing I've seen work really well is a quarterly park day where all your current families are told, hey, come bring your kiddos. It's like basically a park hangout for the day. You bring snacks and balloons and some music. And what you do is families that are walking by, say you engage with them, hang out with them, let the kids hang out and play with each other, or you invite your current families to bring their friends, right? So now you become the place where people walk by and say, hey, what is this? This is a birthday party? No, this is our quarterly park hangout, part of Happy Hands preschool. And boom, just like that, that's another family that now is informed about what you do, and they can see in action, oh my God, look at how wonderful this community is. So think about where families hang out. How can you get involved there? Or how can you become the place around which they hang out? One thing that is super unique that I know has worked really well, my co-founder's mom, actually the person that we built Playground for way back when, she did this thing for 25 years called Yellers Anonymous, which was basically a monthly workshop. It's essentially a group therapy session for families to come in and talk about their challenges with other parents. Maybe you have a kiddo that's just nonstop screaming and melting down, and there's another family that's there that is, their child's 8 months or 12 months older, and they can share, hey, these are some things that we did that we were in the same exact position, and this helped a ton. And so just like that, you're becoming this center of community around which families associate value and comfort with. So there's a million different ways that you can take this, but the bottom line is figure out where your families hang out and spend time there. Now, once we're in front of our families, once they start to find out about who we are, it's really important that we think about and start to optimize how they learn about our program. How do they understand what your services are and how they differ from the program that might be half a block away or half a mile away? So now, welcome to the inform stage. This is a stage that is oftentimes, it's done often, which is good, right? People have a website, people have an Instagram, people have a Google business profile, but it's not optimized. And this is a place where today you can go and you can spend 30 minutes after this webinar and make incredible gains just by tweaking a couple things. So first things first, your community should know why you're great. Not just that you exist, but why they should care to begin with. So how does your program come across today? Most websites I've seen just says, when you log on, hey, welcome to Happy Hands Preschool. We are a program that offers a super nurturing environment with experienced staff. Great. That's really, really good. That's important. But so does everyone. Everyone has a nurturing environment. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone that is taking their program and their business seriously. But so it's important to mention, but how can you take this a step further, right? Because if you're looking at two different programs side by side as a family, and they both have nurturing environments, I don't know what the difference is yet. So start to review your site. Are there places where you're not being specific about what it means when you say nurturing, right? You can audit yourself, which is good. I'm happy to also help you with an audit. So we'll share some contact information at the end, but I am happy to give you a 3 to 5 minute quick look at your website and give you some pointers if you're curious. I spend a lot of my time thinking about website design and optimization. So we'll get my contact information out to you all if you want to take me up on that. And you can even do this today, right? Open in a new browser, incognito, and Google your program name, click on your website. Ask yourself, is it clear who we serve? Is it clear what makes us different? Is it easy to take a step here? And we'll talk about that during the conversion phase. Do you like what you see aesthetically? Does what you're reading give an accurate reflection of everything that we provide and how we fully differentiate ourselves when someone walks in through the door and we talk to them in person? You can even feed your URL directly to ChatGPT or to Gemini or to any AI service that you use and say, hey, you are a world-class marketer. You are a world-class preschool marketer. Review this website and provide me with some critique and improvements that I can make today on the structure and the copy. And even that will help you significantly. That's just like free gains. You can do it right now as I'm talking to you. So do an audit. Have a family member look at your website and try to describe to you, hey, what are the 5 most important things about a program? See what they say. I'd love to understand now how confident you are in your program's online presence today. And we're going to launch a poll. I think it should be over everyone's screen. But I'd love to understand, how confident you feel in your program's online presence. Do you feel very confident? It reflects us very well. Are you somewhat confident? There's, we have photos up there, and it's good enough, but it could be stronger. Are you not confident? There's work to be done, or do you just not have a strong presence at all? And this is step one, right? This is us understanding where are we to begin with, right? Like if you are very confident that there's a good reflection here, this could be a situation where you're just have ChatGPT give you some really small nitty-gritty feedback to slightly optimize your website, and maybe that's all you need. But if you are in a position where it doesn't really exist and it could be a lot stronger, then this is where you pay attention. This is where you sit up in the chair and take some notes. So let's take a look at the poll here. It looks like a majority of us are somewhat confident. So it sounds like there are the foundations for an online presence, but could be stronger. About a tenth of us feel very confident, reflect us well. Salute to you. You're breathing rare air. Congratulations. Another quarter or so feels like not super confident, needs work, and then another 10% or so don't have one. Okay, so very healthy mix. It sounds like predominantly there are folks that have a decent foundation, but there's some work to be done, which is completely normal, completely natural. That's why you're all here. So a couple things I like to do is you want to turn your points of pride into stronger messaging. So before you even touch your Wix site or your Squarespace, talk to your teachers, talk to your director or your other administrators, or just talk to yourself out loud. Record yourself. When a family walks in through your doors and you start to give them the pitch and the philosophy behind your program, why you're so special, are the things that you're saying out loud written anywhere on your website? People oftentimes have this incredible pitch when they're doing a tour, and none of it exists on their website, which is crazy because if you think about it, a website is kind of like it's not a tour, but it's a virtual tour, so to speak, of your program. So there's no reason why whatever it is that you would say in person shouldn't be on your site in some way, shape, or form. The other thing to think about is the actual points of pride that you're thinking about. How are you positioning that? How do you message that to your family? So I have an example here. We have small class sizes. Great. That's a very important thing, and families want to hear that. But what does that mean for your customer or your potential customer? We have small class sizes, so your child gets more individual attention every single day. We have to assume that your families aren't going to do that extra step of reasoning of trying to figure out why should we care. We provide daily reports and updates. Great. Let's make it about you, the customer. You always know how your child's day went. We've been serving families for 15 years. Actually, I think that's a good one. We can keep that here anyway. But you can still switch it out to make it a family-oriented language. Families choose us with confidence year after year. And if you have any statistics about this, like think about, in the last 10 years, how many families left? If it's, under a couple percentage points, put on your website. 98% of families stay for, the 3 or 4 years of the entire program or whatever it is. And I'm sure there's a million other things. I'm going to pause here for a second and think for a minute now. And I would love to see in the chat what makes your program unique. Things I've seen in the past is maybe there's a language immersion focus. Maybe there's extra time spent outdoors. There was one program I was visiting in Denver. One of my good friends, Steve Lloyd, out of Mountain Preschool in the suburbs of Denver, and they have this incredible room in the middle of their program where it's a mini gym. And because it gets really cold in Denver, this allows them to let the kiddos run around and have fun all day instead of being inside when it's freezing outside. And that was such a huge point of pride for him. So I'd love to see in the chat what folks are thinking in terms of things that are a point of pride. We are first. Oh, wow. So Mary writes in, yeah, we're the first childcare center in our county, and you're in the school. That's an incredible piece of history and credibility that should be on your website. Again, I don't know what your website looks like, but that's an awesome part of your story. You should very much lean into that. That's something that nobody else in your area could say, right? There's only one first. You are the first. That's a differentiator. I don't see any other people, so I'm going to keep going. So here's a quick example, Little Minds Universe. I love their website for a couple reasons. We'll get into it in a second. But it's warm and welcoming, and you can see from the jump exactly what they do well. There's a strong brand here, right? You have the smiling kiddos in front of you. You have like the Little Minds Universe shirt that the cute little girl is wearing. There's a single sentence promise of value off the jump. The love for learning starts here at the beginning. What parent does not want their child to develop a love for learning? I know my parents, that was one of their biggest values, is how can we instill the value of education and learning into our kids? And Jermaine here at Little Minds Universe did a great job with that. When you go on, you can see, hey, here are our core values. Help your families understand what you stand for and what they can expect day to day, right? This is not, we know what's, how much work goes into providing incredible care, and let your families know, hey, this is what you can expect to see as an input. This is all the values that we put into our children, and this is what we expect will be developed in them. Trust, bravery, honesty, responsibility. These are all incredible values that any family member would want their child to have leaving a program. So tell your families what to expect as an outcome, not just, oh, here's how we spend the time each day, but what does that all culminate in? They get into some of the amenities that their program offers, right? Cameras for security, convenient location, affordable rates, a parent mobile app, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, playground, nutritious meals, but make it really easy for families to quickly understand what's available and whether your program meets their needs. Maybe like they don't, they live 45 minutes away and they don't realize that. It should be very obvious, who would be best served in your program. The other piece that I think is something that you could do literally today when families come to pick up their kiddo, ask a family member or 2 or 3 or 5, hey, can I get a one sentence testimonial? What would you say to another family who's considering my program? How would you describe the care that your child has received in my program? And just write that down and put it on your website. It's literally, in 5 minutes, you could have 5 quotes on your website. This builds an immense amount of trust with your families, showing them that the families that you serve in the community, and their friends and neighbors, they've already chosen you. They already value your program, and they're more than happy to stamp their name, put their reputation on the line, and say, yes, I stand by these words. This is an incredible program. You could do a lot of selling, but at the end of the day, the highest converting selling is when your customers sell for you. You could literally do that today. Get 3 families to answer in one sentence. What would you tell a prospective family who's thinking about registering their child at our program? Write that down or record it on your phone, and then just add it on your Squarespace today. And you can put this in a couple different sections. You just want your potential families to see, okay, yeah, they do have quotes, they do have testimonials. There are other people who go to this program. I'm not alone. You want them to feel like, yes, this is a trusted and established institution. Okay, so that's the Inform page. Like I said before, I am really, really happy to do a teardown of your current website. If you'd like, you can get in touch with me, and I'll record a 3-minute video where I just screen share and rip it to shreds if you'd like, and give some constructive pointers to see places where I would lean in more. I'm happy to do that. So that's the Inform part. Now, conversion. We've gotten in front of the family. We've optimized our website so it's very clear the value proposition that our program offers this family, and they're excited about it. They say, okay, wow, Happy Hands looks like an incredible place for us and for our child. I think we want to get started. Do you have the systems in place to actually convert these families? And this is where the systems matter a lot. And this is where I'm going to start talking about Playground, because there's a lot that you can do here to make sure that you are meeting your families and you are capturing their demand, whether it's high intent or low intent. So what does that mean? We want to make it very easy for families to always take the next step, no matter where they're at in the process, whether they're just in the beginning of wanting to learn more about your program, or they're at the very end of their process and they're ready to enroll. You want to meet them where they're at. So high intent families that have a high level of intent, you want to make sure that they have the ability to book a tour. Sure, they can email you or call you, but what if you're in the classroom? What if you have a sore throat? What if it's 11:30 at night and you are asleep, but some parent is up late doing their Reddit search or ChatGPT research, and they found your program and they want to learn more and book a tour? You have to meet them where they're at. You have to have a system in place so that they can just book that tour without waiting on you. What if they want to? What if it's someone who's already booked it? They've done their tour. They've come in. You've established it's a good fit, and they're 10 p.m. They just met with their husband. Hey, I think we should do it. Let's just do it right now. Are they able to submit an application? Can they fill out their paperwork online? That's one part of it. And the other part, for the low intent families, maybe they're not yet ready to book a tour or to submit their application, but they want to learn more information about your program. Do you have a place where you can collect their email and automatically send them a bunch of really incredible content? If no, those are really low-hanging fruit that you can get set up in your system within the next week or so. This is where some of the system talks will come in. But I'm going to go back to my friend Jermaine over at Little Minds Universe and show you what he does really well and how this can be done on your site as well. You'll notice that we have two buttons, two next steps on their website. The first thing you see, you can schedule a tour or you can inquire now. If you schedule a tour, the tour booker comes up, you pick a date and time, and boom, all the notifications are taken care of. You get reminded in the hours and the days leading up to it. If you want to inquire now, you just submit your name and some information about your child and what you're interested in, and then you're just sent incredible content on a regular basis about Little Minds Universe. And within those emails, you can always take another step to then maybe book a tour. But what these two buttons do for you, is you give your families the option to act at their own level of interest. So that if you are always only asking, book a tour, book a tour, book a tour, you're skipping out on a whole bucket of leads that just want to inquire, but may later on turn into enrollments because you're nurturing them. So make sure that you are able to give them places to go depending on where they're at. Again, this is all stuff that we can help with, and I'll show you a bit more in a second. When we're talking about the inquiry form, this should be the right amount of information. This is not a registration form. This is not, we don't need a million pieces of data. We just need the basics: parent name, email address, phone number, maybe the child name and birthday. Just the minimum amount of stuff that you need to then give them personalized information. This is another customer of ours, Alphabet Academy, out in Wyoming. And they use Playground. They actually give their families the option to just book a tour directly, where they connect their calendar and all the availability is just here, right? And I see Jermaine's in the chat. It is a good website. So yes, if families are ready, they can book a time, they can book a date. You can even show them, hey, this is going quick. We have just a couple spots left. You can drive urgency, help them make timely decisions instead of putting off this enrollment. This is oftentimes like a big, hairy decision they need to make. And the thing that's really, really important here is, even if you have these buttons on your website, even if you give your families a way to take action, they should still be hearing from you immediately before your competition. They should hear back from you before your competition. And honestly, they should just hear back from you ASAP. Right now, today, immediately. There's absolutely no reason to not get back to them. Of course, unless you're like driving. But they should hear back from you once you pull over. Speed to lead is one of the single most important factors when it comes to earning and booking a tour and then converting it into an enrollment. Like I said before, families will hear back, they'll submit inquiries for multiple programs, and most often, the fastest responder earns their trust. Silence equals disinterest from, they think that you don't care about them. They're used to everything being immediate, and you just, you have to meet them there. That's just the reality of the situation. And so on Playground, for example, here, you get a lead. You can set it up so that you get a text immediately with the phone number, and you just tap it from your phone, and you can just call right there the second it comes in. Sometimes I have actually a couple programs that we work with that they'll just put in and say, hey, you have a new lead, remember to call them ASAP. This call might be worth $10,000, because to your business, it very well could be worth $10,000 a year, right? If you want to multiply that out by 3 or 4 years they'll be in your program, this is a $30,000 or $40,000 call sometimes. So in no world will someone put off a $30,000 or $40,000 call if they remember. It's really, really important to have a system in place that you do this, because again, family takes a step. That's great. We give them the option. We're capturing their demand, but now it's on you to meet them where they're at. Okay. There are going to be a lot of touch points that you need to convert a family. Just because you text them back right away or call them back right away doesn't mean they're automatically going to convert and enroll in your program. So I don't want that to be the takeaway. There's going to be, usually on average we see between 8 and 12 touch points to convert a family. This is a big decision for them. Oftentimes, this is the first time that they've been apart from their child, so this is a big deal. They're really, it's a very emotional decision as much as it is a financial one. And so it's really important that each touch point is maximized. You want to personalize. And you can do this at scale. You can do this with a system like Playground, where every email and text will put in their first name and the child's name, and if you've collected information about the child's age or program that they're interested in, it can customize information about the infants program or the toddlers program, depending on the child's information. And you want to remove as much friction as possible. You don't want the family filling out the same kind of information over and over again: name, email, phone number, date of birth. You want a system that will just pre-populate that for them, make it surprisingly pleasant for your families. This is an example. These are some screenshots I included from Playground, where you can set up a system where when a meeting gets booked or a form gets filled out, it will trigger a bunch of things to happen. So it'll trigger an email to get sent out, then it'll wait a day or two, then it'll send them a text, then it'll wait, then it'll send them an email, and so on and so forth. And what we call these automations. You can basically have these automations run in your sleep, so that you don't have to worry about sending out each email and each text every single time, because you have a million other things to do every single day. And so you can rest assured knowing that your families are getting responded to in real time while you're still running the rest of your incredible program. So you can have a sequence up for when a tour is complete, or branching this out. So, you want to make sure that your infants are getting, or your infant families are getting messages specific about the infant program, whereas your threes are getting messages specific about the threes program. I have a resource here. We're also going to put it into the chat for those that are interested. It's a free resource. You can, I think, just click the link that just popped up, but you can download this. This is a CRM automation freebie that we put together. Some ideas that you can put together of things to automate away, things that you probably should have in place to engage and nurture your families, but you probably don't have the bandwidth to spend a ton of time on. So you can scan the QR code, or you can, again, click I think this should be in the bottom of the screen right now. You can just click here to get the free resource. You can check this out. Inquiries, they should be to the point. There should be a very clear email that goes out to them when you receive an inquiry about what the next step is going to be. You should have emails in place for what happens if they don't take that next step. You get an inquiry and they don't schedule a tour. Are they constantly being nurtured in not an annoying, spammy way, but in a thoughtful way? Hey, just want to follow up if you're still interested in learning more about this program. here's the button. All you have to do is click this button to book the tour. There's a million things that you could do here. I'm just going to skip through it in the interest of time. We also have a freebie that we built, best practices for some of these automated emails that you can create. So again, a new link just popped up. You can click here to download it. But this is a gallery of winning emails that we've seen convert really well. This is taken both from across what we've seen work well across all our customers, and then also like just generally best practices for sales, because this is sales is what we're doing right now. So we're going to share that link. I'll keep it up in a second. The thing that I want to instill in everyone is it's so important that you make the most out of each lead. You worked so hard for it, right? Think about how much work went into that park day that you created to meet that one extra family, which you then emailed and texted over the course of a couple of weeks to get them to show up for a tour. And so when they start to fall off the face of the earth, maybe life gets busy for them. You got to do the work of following up. They're not going to. I mean, sometimes they'll be great and they'll come back to you and say, "Hey, we're ready to get started now." But oftentimes, life is busy. They have young kiddos that they're taking care of. They're providing for their family. Like, life happens. The onus is on you to continue to show up in a very thoughtful and intentional way in front of them. So personalize those follow-ups, make it specific to where they're at in their stage, whether they've booked their tour or not, whether they showed up for the tour or not. You want to have automated sequences for people who go unresponsive. So my favorite is a win-back campaign. You can have a sequence. The second that you haven't heard from someone in over 30 days, it will automatically get put into a win-back campaign where once a month, it'll just check in. Hey, this is Sasha from Happy Hands. Just want to see if you found your childcare solution. Is there, do you want to learn a bit more about our program? And if they respond, they tell you, oh, we're all set. You can just take them out. Or if not, it just gently follows up with them. And eventually it's, oh my God, thank you so much for following up with me. Things just got so busy. Yes, you have a spot in your twos classroom. So we have a ton of ideas for that. And again, each lead is worth so much to your business that it's worth the extra effort, the extra email, the extra text, the extra call. It is always worth it. Okay, with the couple minutes we have left, we'll talk about the engage phase. This is once you've converted your families and they are now a customer, it's so important to make sure that they don't walk out the door a couple months later. The first 90 days are just so critical for that retention and growth. It's the part where they are the most fragile, but also the most willing to give you a review online, provide a referral. So you want to have systems in place to do an automated check-in 1 week in. Hey, how are things going? Book a 15-minute phone call with the director. 2 weeks in. Hey, again, super quick. I know, congratulations on 2 weeks. How are things going? Is there anything you want to talk about? A month later. Hey, congrats on 1 month. Just wanted to see if things are living up to the expectation. If so, feel free to leave us a review on Google. 3 months in, hey, it's been so wonderful learning about little Timmy, who's been in our class. You've been such a delight in our community. Do you have any friends that are looking for childcare? Families are far more likely to refer after they've had a really positive onboarding experience. And so it's just so important that you spend that time, the extra bit of time, to give them an extra piece of outreach. If if the mom's birthday is during the 90 days, send them a nice little text or an email. Happy birthday from Happy Hands Preschool. Do those small things that would make you feel really good. You want to keep your families in the loop. This is basic stuff here, but even if it's once a month, hey, here's what's happening in our program. You can do a newsletter through a system like Playground. You can, of course, do photos and videos, and different programs have differing perspectives on how much they need to be kept in the loop. And I'm not saying you need to snap every photo every second, but let the families know how the care is going, what you're spending time on, what the outcomes they should be seeing and expecting. The same way that if you purchase a service, you want to see what you're getting for it. It works the same way, even though it's childcare and even though there's little humans involved, it's still, there's a transaction that's happened. And so you want to make sure that your customers remain happy. The takeaway here is that enrollment is a system. It's not a season, even though there is going to be seasonality to enrollment. You can always be working on enrollment. You can always be picking one of those 4 pillars and working on it, whether it's finding new families, informing them better, right? You want to build that awareness. You want to retain those families. And these things compound, right? You get 1% better across each of these systems. And 6 months later, your enrollment is unrecognizable. It's a whole new beast. And more than anything, it's consistency beats cleverness, because repeatable process drives that enrollment growth. Don't worry about changing everything today. Pick one thing that you want to fix and fix it, and then move it step by step, step by step. Consistency over time is what's going to build your enrollment process. And so I want to do a quick poll here again. As we start to wrap up, I'd love to understand, of the 4 phases that we talked about, for your own business, what feels like the biggest opportunity to improve next? Is it getting discovered? Is it improving your messaging and how you talk to families and share families online about your program? Is it your conversion? Better follow-ups, faster follow-ups and tours, higher conversion rates from stage to stage? Or is it retention and referrals? Right? Where do you feel like you can get the most out of your business by spending a bit of time and energy on improving it? It looks like about half of us, it's about getting discovered. Another third is about better conversion, and 10%, a little bit less, is about the engagement and retention. Yeah, so getting discovered, getting the leads, no surprises here. This is the piece where you have to just think about where your families hang out. You have to talk to your families today during pickup. If it's, I guess if you're on the East Coast, it's probably too late. But on the West Coast, when your parents walk in, hey, random question for you, but what do you guys do on the weekends? Where do you spend your time with the kids? Do you go to the park? Do you go to rec center? Do you go to the mall? Just ask them. Literally talk to your current customers about where they hang out. I promise you, there's other people just like them doing the same exact thing. And once you figure out where your potential customers hang out, then you can go hang out there and you can go meet them. And I promise you, that's the easiest way to do it. It's way better and way more scalable than throwing money into Facebook ads or Google ads. It's the organic stuff is just so much stronger, and it will sustain the test of time. With the 2 minutes I have left here, I just want to wrap up and talk a little bit more about what it is that Playground does in the grand scheme of all of this. And Playground, if you're not familiar, is an app and a website. It's the only software program that a childcare program needs to run and grow. And the grow part is the emphasis here. Our mission is to make excellent childcare accessible to all. So I built Playground with my co-founders, Josh and Dan, and we actually built Playground initially for their mom, who ran a center for 26 years. It was a center with 300 children. She had the same exact challenges as everyone else who's probably listening in right now. How do you find your customers? How do you differentiate yourself relative to everyone else in the area? And the result of what we did is Playground. Playground developed into this platform that basically became the backbone for her business. It allowed her to focus on the care that she wanted to provide, and building these enrollment initiatives instead of worrying about the different things that needed to happen for the business. The systems could just be taken care of by Playground. So we do things like payroll and marketing and billing and attendance, really everything that you need to run your business in one place. I know we have some customers in the chat right now, some potential customers here. If you want to learn a little bit more about how the system works, we'll be sending out a follow-up email with the recording for today. But then also you can scan the QR code to learn more. And I think we have a button on the screen right now if you want to talk to someone on our team to learn more about the CRM and the system specifically. And if you put your comment in the chat or your email in the chat, I'm also more than happy to follow up with you. And we can, if you want to get a teardown of your website, I am more than happy to offer some critique and constructive feedback if that's of interest. So you can just drop your email in the chat. Otherwise, I'd encourage you to book that demo with my team. My team is phenomenal. They work with thousands and thousands of programs every single week with the same exact problems that you all are facing, and we've seen some pretty incredible solutions. So if you're interested in learning more, I'd love for you to book a demo. But otherwise, I'm so appreciative of everyone's time here this Friday afternoon. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and hopefully we'll be speaking with you all here again shortly. So that all being said, we'll talk soon and follow up via email. Thanks, everyone.